Hey guys, we are back and we are going to do a deep dive into these elif statements. So I've got a piece of code here and let's talk about what it does. First of all, we create this variable called age, and then we ask the user to give us some input. Enter your current age. Well, if you guys remember, by default, the input function will take whatever value the user types in at runtime, and it will save it in this variable, age. By default, the input function saves the user's input as a string. And if you guys remember, we can't do math or compare strings with numbers, right? So strings can't do math. We can't take someone's name and multiply it or divide it. And we also can't compare a string, like someone's name or something like that. We can't compare that to a number, right? Like, is Jessica greater than 4? Or is Apple less than 7? That doesn't make any sense. So if we want to be able to take this variable that has the user's current age and we want to be able to compare it to integers, we have to turn the age into an integer as well. So that's what this bit of code right here is doing. Right, and it closes up over here. So once the user types in some kind of number, we're going to take that, convert it to an integer data type, and then we're going to save it in the age variable. So now that age holds an integer, we can compare it to other integer values. All right. So obviously we won't know until the code runs what age the user puts in. So we're going to have to use the variable age to refer to that throughout the code. Let's take a look at what it's doing. We're saying if the value of the age variable is less than or equal to 1, print you are a baby. All right, the whole idea of this program, by the way, is to allow the user to enter their age and tell them what stage of life they're at. All right, so we've got a second if statement. If age is less than or equal to 4, print you are a toddler. If age is less than or equal to 13, you are a child. If age is less than or equal to 19, you're a teenager. And if age is less than 65, you're an adult. Any other scenario will print out you're a senior. Lucky you, right? Because aging is a good thing. Well, why would we put that inside of an else statement? Why would we not say if age is greater than 65, you're a senior, lucky you? Well, we don't actually need to do that because we've already covered every other situation for a human being, right? If age is less than or equal to 1, so that would mean you were either just born or less than 1 year old, right? You're a baby. Then we've got less than or equal to 4. Well, okay, that would mean that they're greater than 1 but less than 4, right? And for the teenager part, if it's less than or equal to 13, I'm sorry, if it's less than or equal to 13, you're a child, right? Right now, every condition is being covered with these if statements, except that you're over 65. So the idea is that you don't even need to type if age is greater than or equal to 65, because this will automatically, by default, cover that scenario, right? Because all the other conditions have already been covered. So if it makes it down to this if statement, that means none of these were true. Therefore, the person has to be at least 65 years old, because if they were less than 65, this statement would have been true. Right. So sometimes I like to come in here, and even though the else statement does not take a condition, you can still put a comment above it, and the comment can explain when that else statement would execute. So for us, that would be if age is greater than or equal to 65, right? This is not a piece of Python code that's actually going to execute and be part of our program. This is just a note for us to know that this else is pretty much representing age being greater than or equal to 65. All right, let's give this code a run. Let's put in an age and let's see what happens. All right, cool, you're an adult. Let's test it out again because we all know got to test all sorts of scenarios. All right, let's test 66. Let's do it again. Let's do a young age this time. Let's do like 2 years old. When you're testing your code, you should always test multiple scenarios. Uh-oh, we've got an issue here. So we entered the age of 2, right? And that is not less than or equal to 1, but it is less than or equal to 4. Well, guess what? It's also printing out you are a child. So age must also be less than or equal to 13. And that's correct because 2 is less than or equal to 13, right? So what's happening is when we put in the age 2, this is false, right? 2 is not less than or equal to 1, but 2 is less than or equal to 4. It's also less than or equal to 13 and 19, and it's also less than 65. So because all of those are if statements, they're all going to be evaluated, and all the ones that are true will execute, right? So what's happening here is that we don't want to have a whole bunch of if statements, because if someone is 2 years old, there's no way they can be a toddler, a child, a teen, and an adult all at the same time, right? That's impossible. So what we want to do is we want to change this from using multiple if statements to using elif statements. That way, when it hits the first statement that is true, it will stop evaluating, all right? Because only one of these can be true. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to copy this code, all of our if else statements, and I'm going to paste them in down here. All right. And for now, I'm going to throw some comments, throw some single quotation marks in here, and that will comment out all of the code from here to here, so it will not execute. So we will have the top line where we get the age from the user, and then we will have all these statements down here. If we want to convert this to use elif statements, we still always leave the first statement as an if. Then we'll change the rest of these down here to be elif statements. We will keep the else statement as it is. All right. So let's take a look at it now. If we put in 2 for the age, let's think about what's going to happen. Is 2 less than or equal to 1? It is not. This is false, so we ignore this. Now we try the next one. Is 2 less than or equal to 4? Well, yes, it is. So since it's found a true statement, it is now going to skip all the rest of this. It's going to skip right from here to print you are a toddler, and it's going to come all the way down here now, right? Skipped all that other code. So that is how you use an elif statement. You use it when you only want to get one of your statements returned to you. So let's give this a run and let's test it out with some numbers and see how it does. All right, let's say we're 2 years old again. You are a toddler. That's correct. All right, let's give it a run. Let's say we are 0 years old. You are a baby. That's correct. Let's run it one more time. And let's say we are, I don't know, 17. You are a teen. awesome. So hopefully that helps you to understand when you want to use the elif statements.